check. The Greyfriars behind me. Now this was where the monastery was, that the small chapel I told you about was. But the building behind us was not actually connected with the Greyfriars, it simply took the name, and it is quiet and peaceful. And I see surprise on your faces when I say that. Well, do not assume that just because a building is old, it is of necessity haunted. Spirits like myself, you see, as I said earlier, arise in times of change. And what is now Café Rouge, which you have just walked past, you see, all these places after tonight where you'll be afraid to go, was once part of this building. And when the alterations were done, then indeed strange things began to happen in Café Rouge. In the kitchen, drawers would fly open and knives would come out. Mops and buckets slide across the floor by themselves. A bicycle was ridden downstairs into a yard at the back to which there was no access whatsoever. And one night, diners watched in amazement all over the restaurant as the candles on their tables went out. One. By one. By one. By one. By one. By one. By one. With no waiter walking past to create a drama. No door or window open. Simply of their own volition, their candles extinguished themselves, leaving the diners in darkness and growing fear. Or by themselves, you ask me, how can that happen? Well, here perhaps is an explanation. Places like the Greyfriars Monastery were connected to the cathedral by tunnels, as well as the roads and streets. And there's a story of a servant of the monks who was trapped in a tunnel here after a heavy rainstorm. Now imagine the poor man's dilemma. The people at the cathedral think he's at Greyfriars. Well, the people at Greyfriars think he's at the cathedral. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, ask yourselves, at which point does fear begin? Does it begin at that moment when you realize that you are lost and forgotten? Or does it begin at that moment when you realize that there is not enough air to keep you alive for very much longer? And as the poor man began to breathe, and the balance of his air shifted, until eventually he got down to that one last breath that would keep him alive for but a few seconds longer. And suddenly, as he gulped that in, taking in the oxygen, so too the oxygen, keeping the candles in the restaurant alight, went, still leaving the candles out one after one after one after one after one after one after one, as a sad memorial to that poor man who is now just a handful of dust beneath Café Rouge. And as you look at the buildings around you, you will see evidence of much change. And as we walk down Friar Street that we are now on, I promise you, we will not walk alone. Yours, for example, is still with you, just behind your left shoulder. Leave her be. Don't do that. The rest of you are doing very well indeed. I'm being waved at. Well, we can't get down there at all.